Well, clearly that's something that's very important to me, since the term I use is return on relationship. My book that I wrote with Catherine Rose is called Return on Relationship. ROR, or the hashtag, which we use in Twitter and throughout social media, is hashtag RONR. And for me, I believe that relationships are the new currency. And whenever I say that, very often people in an audience or people that read my book will say, well, relationships have always been currency. I mean, you know the expression, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But for me, what really makes it important today is the ability to scale relationships 24/7 without ever leaving your bedroom if you don't want to. Now, I'm not advocating never leaving your home. But what the point is, it used to be you had to have a lot of money to be able to travel to events, to go meet people, whereas now you can do that right from the comfort of your own home, your own office, or anywhere you are traveling. And you can scale it because what happens is there's so many people on social media that are watching and observing conversations. They tend to be called lurkers, people that are not necessarily participating, or people don't think they're participating, but in my eyes, they actually are participating. And I call it participating vicariously, meaning they're participating via our conversations. So they're watching you and I converse, and they feel a part of that. They feel that if they had a question, it would be answered too if they posed it to you. So to me, that's the way these things scale and what's made them so incredibly valuable today.
Okay, so
Well, let's think about that. Any small business or any entrepreneur, even on a larger scale, always has the issue of capital. How much money can he spend? What can he put into his business? And most small business people, the majority of their funding goes to just making the business happen, making sure the doors open every day. Therefore, it was leaving a very big gap in the ability for them to promote their business, to buy advertising, to do marketing, to go to various events and make people know how they are. But now via social media and the platforms that exist, you get to do that basically with a time commitment versus a capital commitment. Almost anybody can build a brand. I call this the age of influence, where anybody can build a brand, affect change, make a difference 24/7. And if you're overlooking that, it's a big mistake. And just like I mentioned earlier about being able to do this from your own bedroom, you can travel to events, you can watch them stream, you can see them online, and then you can connect with those people. But what's really important, and what a lot of people fail to overlook, is they think clicking a button is making a friend. It's not. That's the initial handshake. If I shake your hand, we're not friends. That's a door opener. So people have to start doing what I call looking people in the eye digitally. The same way when I would meet with you and look at you and make sure I'm concentrating on you when I talk to you, listening to what you're saying, looking for ways to connect with you, we need to start doing that. And it can be even, yes, but it can be even simpler. Some people find that challenging. What if people don't want to interact with me? Well, probably they don't want to interact because either you're not letting them know how much you care about them by calling them by name. I mean, these are simple things that you can learn from a book that I call the best social media book ever written. And most people think they're expecting me to name Brian Salas or Chris Brogan or maybe my own book. But I'm talking about a book that was written in 1936 by a guy named Dale Carnegie. And it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And to me, it's more valuable today than it was the day it was written. And it talks about caring about people, calling them by name, finding out something about them, making it about them instead of about you. These are the things that any small entrepreneur can do all around the clock, in between their activities, when they're on their way to places, while they're commuting, late at night. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk likes to say, hey, you can sleep later, use that time now to build your business. Well, I think personal branding is important whether you're an entrepreneur and your own boss or you're working for another company, even a company as large as an IBM or a Ford or a Procter & Gamble, because you are responsible for yourself. This is a very different day and age. Nobody starts a job, works for 30 years, gets a gold watch, retires with a pension anymore. It just doesn't happen. We have to be responsible for how people view us. And we have the ability via social media to be putting that out all the time. If you don't do it, someone's going to do it for you. Someone's going to decide who you are rather than you making that imprint of saying, this is who I am. Now, there are people out there that say, well, you don't have to do that because you are who you are. But it's a matter of letting people know who that is. It's a matter of sharing about who you are. I like to tell people, share your personal life too, because there's no longer that line between work and home life. It's all intermelded. And if you're not letting people know who you are, I get closer and get better interactions with CEOs and CMOs of Fortune 500 companies around the country from what I post about being a divorced dad and about my daughters and what I do with them and things I do in my personal life than I necessarily do with what I write about marketing. There's a lot of people doing that, but I'm doing both. So I think that personal branding is important, and the ability to use social platforms to do it all the time is available to everyone, and if you overlook it, you're missing a big opportunity.